Hello, welcome to another episode of Fearox Frank Reviews. Today I'm going to be looking at the Jurassic Park film series, in a sense. Now I did say I was going to do continuing doing sequels, in a sense. So in this case, I'm going to look at the third Jurassic Park film. The one that most people say probably is not that good, is crap. Some people like it, some people don't like it. Me, I kind of like it. Now, I don't have a VHS copy or a DVD copy of the movie itself, so I can display it here. So what I have here is the trilogy instead, which opens up to review the other movies, which is 1, 2, and 3. Jurassic Park was a huge hit when it came out. Jurassic World, years later, was even a bigger hit, even though that was mostly all CGI, and then they put the animatronics into the sequel. Yeah. So, we're going to continually talk about Jurassic Park 3. So, is Jurassic Park 3 good? Is it bad? Is it somewhere in the middle? Well, I'm going to say that it's passable, in a sense. It's a movie that just comes and goes, in a sense. But if you want to know something really interesting, try reading into the back history and the making of the movie. In all accounts, the movie was even lucky to even get made or even get released. It is just a miracle to know this movie actually got made, in a sense. The movie had a very troubling production, in a sense, mainly because of the fact that the script literally kept on changing on the spot as they were filming it. So, as they were filming, they were making shit up as they went along, in a sense. There's a lot of videos about the subject on YouTube. If you want to find that out, just go on YouTube and type in Jurassic Park 3's making, and you'll see a ton of shit, which is ridiculous. But I think a lot of people were mostly disappointed by it because they killed off the T-Rex in the third film. Yes, the T-Rex dies in the third film by the hands of the new Spinosaurus. Now, let's get into the Spinosaurus just a little bit. Now, first off, I am a dinosaur fan, I'm a Godzilla fan, I'm a monster movie fan, and I actually do some research on dinosaurs, in a sense. I'm an artist, and I like to draw dinosaurs. I like to draw monsters, in a sense. And dinosaurs were, well, real-life monsters, in a sense. So, the Spinosaurus itself is a very fascinating creature. The Spinosaurus originally came from Egypt, in a sense. Now, we know Egypt is a huge barren desert, but millions of years ago, during the Mesozoic era, it was a lush jungle swamp area, which was loaded with tons of carnivores, in a sense. We're talking about the Spinosaurus, which is the only one there. I mean, we had like Rugops, we have like raptor-like creatures, we had even a bigger dinosaur there that was bigger than T-Rex called the Carcharodontosaurus, and that's hard to even pronounce. It's basically like a shark-toothed dinosaur. That's probably what they call it, that. And its distant cousin, the Giganotosaurus, was also in Argentina. And they're both bigger than T-Rex. In fact, they're almost the same lizard, which is kind of fucking ridiculous. So, how could Spinosaurus live in the area with these creatures? Well, as science has progressed with its research and more fossils have been discovered, scientists were even more baffled by the creature. But here's something interesting. The creature, its hind legs, which are its back legs, were webbed toe, like duck feet, in a sense. And they were a little bit smaller than they anticipated, though, but they could support the creature's body weight, considering the fact that the creature can walk on not just all fours, just for, like, you know, scooting around a little bit, though, but also it can walk on 2 feet because its tail was very, very long, so it can balance out the creature's body. So it can walk on 2 feet. Now, why does it have webbed feet? Can it run? Possibly not. But here's what they found out. With the webbed feet, it kind of signifies that the creature lived in the rivers. So, basically, the creature was just a fucking crocodile. Which is kind of funny, knowing that its current descendants are based on the crocodilian species, in a sense. But it's a fascinating subject on trying to learn the Spinosaurus' history. Anyway, the Spinosaurus in this film is not the real thing. Alright, this was way back before we have all the current information about the current Spinosaurus, what it looks like. However, when Jurassic World came out a couple of years ago, In its sequel, we all were introduced to the Indominus Rex, the first hybrid in the Jurassic Park series. Or was it? Some new information about the Spinosaurus has actually been leaked online just before JP3, just before JW's release, and it actually shed a little bit more light on JP3 a bit more, saying that Dr. Wu actually had to experiment on something with that resulted in a creature with a giant sail on its back, and they dumped it on Isla Sorna. Gee, what dinosaur do we know of that actually has a sail like that? The Spinosaurus. Now, in the movie, they do explain that the Spinosaurus was not on InGen's list of dinosaurs that were cloned, and it's because it wasn't cloned. It was a genetic hybrid. In other words, it's basically just it's a giant-ass baryonyx with a sail on its back, and it was hyper-aggressive. So they just dumped it on the island and let it feast on most of the dinosaurs that were down there. As of today, nobody knows of the current whereabouts of the creature, in a sense, as currently with the JW series, in a sense. Jurassic World has continued on, and now the dinosaurs are loose on the mainland. And thanks to the battle at Big Rock, when we see the Allosaurus that finally got some real good screen time, thank fucking God. I'm sorry, I'm kind of an Allosaurus fan, so I'm really happy to see that creature finally get its screen time. So yeah, all the dinosaurs are loose in the mainland, and there's no news about the Spinosaurus. Nobody knows what happened to it. Is it alive? Is it dead? Where is it? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But here's an interesting fact. This was not the first piece of media that the Spinosaurus had actually appeared in. Its first appearance was actually in Lost World Jurassic Park, where it was very different. In fact, if anything, it looked more like a Dimetrodon, in a sense, which is a lizard with a giant sail on its back that crawls on all fours. Now, the action figure of the creature was actually in the Lost World toy set. And if you saw it, you can see it's clearly a Dimetrodon. They just elongated its head a little bit so its head could stand up. They gave it some long arms, and they gave it some big back hind legs. Interesting. And the second time we see the creature, again, is actually in the fighting video game Warpath Jurassic Park, where it's really not as big as it was meant to be, and it was given mostly raptor-like movement. Really kind of weird, but then again, it's actually not a bad, it's not actually a bad character to play as. Personally, I go with the Acrocanthosaurus or the T-Rex every time I play that game. It's a fun game if you're into dinosaurs and fighting games. But like I said, the biggest disappointment many people have with this movie was the T-Rex getting killed off by the Spinosaurus. Now, here's an interesting fact about this. Thanks to Cinemassacre, I actually discovered a little something about that fight. It turns out they did actually film half the fight scene in CGI, and the other half was filmed in with the animatronics. But it turns out that the Spinosaurus animatronic was a little bit too powerful, and it actually destroyed the T-Rex animatronic. Yikes! And here's another thing that's even more weird. This movie came out in 2001, and the last movie came out in the summer of 2001. And ironically enough, the last movie with a dinosaur in it that came out in 2000 was Godzilla 2000. And a lot of people say that Spinosaurus and Godzilla look alike. Yeah. There's just one huge problem. This is an old Godzilla toy I've had since I was a little kid. In a sense, it's one of my favorite toys, and that's why I kept it, even for sentimental values. And, well, to be fair, I gave it a new paint job a few years ago because snowy day, I couldn't go to college because the college was snowed in, couldn't go to work. So what did I do? I pop on a cartoon series, and I started painting this damn thing. Anyway, Godzilla has dorsal spines on his back, or dorsal binds, whatever you call it. But they're more like, they're small sail-like binds that are made out of cartilage. The Spinosaurus has a huge sail on its back, and here's a fun fact. If the Spinosaurus were to roll on its back, it would die, because the spine is actually made of bone and it's connected to its spine. Hence why it's called Spinosaurus. There's a lot of details with the creature, but I'm not going to go into further detail, in a sense, on this anymore. So I'm just going to go on my description of what the movie is. The movie is about a family who loses their son on the island. They get Dr. Grant, they go in, And, well, he was tricked into it, so. And, well, they do find the kid. They have a T-Rex fight the Spinosaurus. T-Rex dies, and the Spinosaurus just literally follows them all over the goddamn island. There is kind of a couple of funny moments in the movie, mainly due to the fact that the Spinosaurus eats somebody who had a satellite phone on him, so when the kid is with Dr. Grant and they hear the satellite phone going off, it's like, hey, it's my parents! Ironically, the parents were close by, so they saw the kid, and they're happily reunited, but the family says, how did you find this? Your phone! Your stupid phone! That stupid jingle, I heard it! Wait, what are you talking about? I don't have the phone on me. Hey, didn't you have it before? Yeah, I had a call on the plane. Hey. Oh, shit. What? I loaned it to Nash, the mercenary. Holy crap, he must have had it when he... The second he said that, the phone rings again, and he looked far into the distance, and what they see? The Spinosaurus. Yep. The phone was in its belly, and it was ringing, so... Now what? Run! Yeah, the thing just chases them all over the island. Eventually, the creature does poop out the phone, and they clean out the phone, and they do call somebody. They call Ellie from the first movie, and she sends in the Marines and stuff. By the way, I do have to mention something, too. The ending actually drastically changed a lot. One of the original endings for the Spinosaurus was to have the raptors come in and try to fight it off, and a huge swarm of raptors, like, it overwhelms the creature, and it eventually kills it. And one of the other endings was actually having the Marines come in and kill off the carnivorous dinosaurs that were attacking them. However, that actually changed thanks to Steven Spielberg, who actually noticed the backlash of the 1998 Godzilla film, where a lot of people were very displeased of how the military easily killed off Godzilla. So thanks to that film, that ending was scrapped. And unlike the other Jurassic Park movies, which is Jurassic Park, Lost World Jurassic Park, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic Park 3's, here's the interesting fact. All those movies all are over 2 hours long, like 2.5 hours long in a sense, but this movie is just under 90 minutes, practically. So it's basically like a B film. Really interesting. And it was treated like a B film, so... yeah, it's basically the B film of the series. And to be fair, my friends who are not huge fans of the franchise, they don't really mind watching this movie because it's basically like a B film. It comes and it goes, and it's an okay film. The one thing I really do like about this movie are the effects. They usually mix in CGI and animatronics in the same scene together. Like in the distance, you'll see a CGI, like 2 CGI raptors. And in the foreground, well, there's the actor, and in the foreground, right in front of him, in front of the camera, are 2 animatronic raptors, in a sense. So they just mixed them together. And to be fair, the effects really did work back then, and no other movies actually do that to this day, which is kind of disappointing. So, would I recommend people watching Jurassic Park 3? Well, it's a required taste. Mostly everybody has watched it. So, do I even recommend Jurassic Park 3 give it a pass? I give it a pass, because it's a pretty it's okay in a sense, but I'm more interested now in watching the back history of this movie. So, well, until next time, I'll take a look at the other Jurassic Park sequel, in a sense. So, until next time, take care.